Hi everyone, welcome back to RuneFest Day 2. Hi, hello. Welcome. We are officially ready to begin. This is the first of our panels for RuneFest at RS3. Lovely. We have the amazing Lorehounds with us. We have Mod Stew. Hello, Mod Stew. We have Mod Zura, Mod Shrike, and Mod Jack.
Hello.
Everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I know you're all dying to ask some questions, but I'm going to do a small little introduction for all of them. So I'm going to start with one quick icebreaker question for all of you. Your favorite content that you've worked on since starting at RuneScape, and that's begun your journey into the lore of RuneScape. Let's start with you, Mod Stew.
Well, in terms of quests, there's going to be no surprise. Day one going to be Death of Chivalry. It was one I got to work on with Mod Osborne, and got one of my first involvements with writing a story, getting interesting twists going on there, and working with some new and old characters. Obviously, I could talk about a lot of other content, but I'll just go with that one for the moment. But also, I'm going to give a shout out to the Dave and Dale tutorial, which honestly I think is a wonderful foundation to the start of the game. Most people haven't actually played it because it's on mobile, but I'm very proud of it.
Awesome. How about you, Mozura?
Ooh. I think my favorite is Ode of the Devourer.
Nice.
I really like that.
Fantastic.
How it juggles Emerigel and
Yeah.
the desert storyline, and Acheron's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
So getting to write for him finally was great.
Shout there, yeah, well done.
And I always have a special place in my heart for Heartstealer, the first quest I ever made in RuneScape.
Oh,
so yeah,
good.
those two are definitely my favorite.
Oh, amazing. That's awesome. How about you, Mod Shrike?
I think for me, it would be Requiem for a Dragon.
Ooh, nice.
That one's quite a special one for me because it was actually at the start of my second stint at Jagex. I was here for a while, and then I left and went somewhere else, and then I came back again. And I was immediately into leading Requiem for a Dragon. I think while I was still on my probation for my second time around, I was like, oh god.
Well, that was an immediate pass.
Immediately, but it was really fun, and I'm really happy with how it went down. It was such a fun story to do, and I'm really pleased with how it was received. So yeah, that's currently my top favorite one.
Yeah, so that's awesome. How about you, Mod Jack?
I think from a lore point of view, probably as an address quest, because.
Whoa,
Raven and I had something like 3 weeks, I think.
Oh, wow.
And it must have been slightly longer than that, but it was like 3 weeks to make it and then 3 weeks to test it. It was a very rapid turnaround, and I think it was at Christmas as well. Am I misremembering that? Did it come out very early January? Am I misremembering that? Maybe I'm misremembering and muddling out with something else in my head. But I was out at the playground supervising my kids, rereading all of the transcripts for all the Tokar and Zar quests so that I could make sure I got all the Zar lore right. And then writing it all up in the evening and then sending it to Raven so he could implement it the next morning.
Amazing.
It was manic. It was great.
Fantastic. We are going to be going into a bit about the quest creation and the philosophy behind our quest and lore. So I want to put this out to our players straight away, actually. So is there any questions that we want to ask our lovely J-Mods? We're going to go straight into a Q&A. Who's got their hands up? Anyone got their hands up? We've got Sam over here. Who's got a mic? Let's go over here first.
Just a note with questions, we're not going to be able to answer anything that's like, what are your story plans for the next 6 months? And like, what's happening? What are you doing in this XYZ story? And like, guys, no spoilers, all right?
Yeah, prompt your question.
I'm not telling you about the gnomes.
All the hands all time goes down. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, in which case I shall phrase this question very carefully.
Go for it.
With the exception of upcoming content, what plot points, loose threads, questions from RuneScape lore would you most like to answer?
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh,
I've got one.
This one.
Go on.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to King Valance?
Oh, okay.
That's the number one question in RuneScape.
Okay, yeah.
I've got two. My kind of slightly shitposty one is the gnome finale. Like, I really want to do it.
Yes.
I've always assumed there was like 3 people in the lore community, including myself, who actually cared about the gnomes. But
I'll put it on the survey next time, I promise.
I really want to do it, but it's a tricky one because everyone's always expecting Upper Sandra, and that's a really difficult thing to make. Like another skilling city, how do we do that given we have so many of those already? We're going to have to be a bit creative with it, but it's a storyline I'm really fond of, so I'm really like to do that. My other one is Moya's storyline. She's my favorite character in game.
Yeah, big cheer there.
And I really, really want to continue her storyline. It's kind of gone onto the back burner a bit since we pivoted to the desert. I think we can talk a bit more about why we did that at some point.
Yeah.
But one day I'll get to give my girl her storyline. I'm going to make her worse. It's going to be great.
If you want to, you know where to go. Just keep upvoting as much as you can.
Insane women making terrible decisions is like peak storytelling.
What
to
can go
me.
wrong?
Well, we got a mascot, haven't
We've got a
we?
mascot now, so yeah.
Yeah. How about you both?
Well, Shrike stole mine because I was going to say Moya and Bilrak.
Right.
Like, what even is Bilrak? What's going on?
Yeah,
I really hope we do get to revisit that and,
Awesome.
yeah, clarify it eventually.
I haven't thought of an answer yet. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. We can go into another question.
Shout outs. Who do you guys want to hear about most? Penguins.
The penguin.
Penguins.
The
All
penguin.
I'm hearing is penguins. Zaltak and penguins.
You-
Okay. We can combine those
Who
together.
said socks?
Yeah. Corrupt to penguins, sure.
One at a time. One at a time. One at a time.
Of course. That was the correct answer.
okay.
That was the
Where's
one I
Mod
was-
Rowley when we need him?
Clearly, my trauma had buried that, but that is the correct answer.
That sent me through a doozy, that one. I was not prepared to go into the elemental workshop. I had no idea what was
I
going
don't think
on
anyone is.
there. No. It was great, though. It was,
They're great quests, but good God.
yes. Yeah, it gets very, very, intense.
We
after,
actually
like,
do
third.
have a free slot towards the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
We should think about it now.
Well, you put your foot in it now. Right, should we go into another question? We'll do this side. We'll do one here. Who's got the mic over here? Nikki, just over here on the front row. Lovely, thank you.
So I'll preface this. In Guffix's memories, it's heavily implied that the reason we're able to use the monolith safely is because half of our World Guardian powers come from it. So after losing our World Guardian powers, why are we still able to use the monolith?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I can give you the boring non-law answer, which is that we wouldn't ever take away game functionality for a law reason, which I realise is a bit of a...
We're
it's
not
a bit
going to
of
take
a-
away your relics.
bit of
I just spent all that time giving you guys presets. Come on.
That's true, the presets. Did we like the presets? Yeah, we were happy with the presets?
Yes.
How do we fluff that up as a law answer?
I sort of don't want to because we tend to tie ourselves in knots trying to come up with
It's
convoluted...
like
tends to
asking why a
ask
boss
more
is
answers.
repeatable. I'm like,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
they just are.
Like you can still, like you could, despite losing your powers, you can still fight Zamorak. And the answer is kind of because it happened in the past, in a sense.
Yeah, but we get new relics.
Would you rather not? We can quest lock that. That's a threat.
Oh, what's right coming in?
No, it is a
we
fair
go.
question. It's difficult to come up because if we come up with some convoluted explanation as to why, then that tends to then lead to more inconsistencies. So it's a tricky problem.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Nikki. Question over here, second row. Thank you, Sam.
Hello there. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can
First
hear
of
you.
all, to my friend over there, I would also want to point out we also get to hold on to Sunshine and Death Swiftness, and I am not giving those up. But we're not a World Guardian anymore. Ross Isle says so.
Chaps,
Anyway.
chaps.
Oh, back on track.
All right, so
We're not going to fight in here. It's not PvP-enabled area. Come on.
okay, so about one storyline that wasn't mentioned a second ago, so if you want to finish. So I just got to ask, what would you do for Acheron, if I pronounced that right? That big frozen landmass north of the
Everyone
Phoenix.
in the law Discord thought we were doing Acheron for the area.
So did I,
expansion.
personally.
Like, I don't know why.
A beautiful array of puns, I think, was one good reason.
Possibly, yeah.
They were coming up with wonderful area names.
I mean, we put some thought into this, right? Like because we were planning for this new landmass, and we had to go over the options that we had and what they could work. And so, one of the issues with Acheron is biome variety. That it would need to be more than just a frozen wasteland. And so there's an extent to which like what people want from it and what it would need to be in order to work are slightly different. And so that was one of the reasons why we steered away from that direction. Which isn't to say that we can't revisit it in the future. It can still work, but it would need, first and foremost, it would need to not just be a glacier. You know?
We did
Climate
discuss-
change.
Sorry, go on, Zura.
I was like, we did discuss we could do some interesting stuff with the Fremenic there, and obviously there's the penguins. But beyond those two, yeah, vine variety, limiting ourselves a little bit with those two, but it's still something we could look into in the future.
I think we felt that we couldn't do a huge area expansion that was just talking animals. I think that's part of it.
And the Fremenic, yeah.
Do we want?
So there
talking
is an
animals?
audience for talking animals. I have a little a pie chart that shows people who like serious lore, aggressive lore, talking animals, and somewhere nice.
What was the term that you
Somewhere
used
nice.
for the people who like the talking animals? Whimsyists or something like that?
Oh, I was calling them. What did we come up with? Oh, I can't remember now. I was
hoping
calling them
you would.
RuneScape purists, but that wasn't very good. Oh, I can't remember what term was now.
It wasn't furry, but that one might be accurate.
My goodness, my goodness.
Moving on, next question.
Yeah, next question, just over here. Lovely. Nikki, just let's go actually back here. Yes, that's perfect. And then we'll switch sides. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Hello.
So I've got a RuneScape question and then actually like a technical question. So the technical one is when you're writing game scripts, like what software do you use to actually do the original transcripts? Because I've done some writing myself for games and I find it really difficult doing like Google Docs.
You're not alone in that. The trick with, the difficulty with writing quests and writing games in general is that they don't work in a linear format, and to read it, you have to play it. You can't really read a game script. What we use, when I'm doing personal projects and when I'm doing stuff, I usually use Scrivener because it does automatic screenplay formatting, and trying to format a screenplay in Word is a nightmare. When we're writing RuneScape scripts, we use Confluence, which is like an internal wiki, and we just kind of write it in there. I then personally export it to Excel to get it formatted properly. I have like a spreadsheet that I put macros in to get all like the coding markup done, and then I put it into our scripting software. It's quick. I love it. It's automation.
I'm hearing a lot of steps.
And well, it means I also avoid spelling mistakes, because this is a really embarrassing thing about me. I can't spell, and like it's quite
It's a
embarrassing.
lot of red lines.
It's embarrassing in a writer, and like we have so many nouns and so many like
Yeah.
game-specific words that like normal spell check is just useless
Absolutely,
anyway.
yeah. And we know in law, we make up words
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. You're not the only one. Flowcharts are useful, especially if you're doing branching stuff. But yeah, whatever works, really. It's not like when you're writing for a TV show or writing for a film where there's like a set format, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because yay, there's no format, but also, oh no, there's no format. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else wants to. have
that's a
take
great
look.
question,
Great
though, yeah.
question. Yeah, no, thank
How
you.
about you? How about you guys? Do you use anything to help you with your quest writing?
I would just throw another one out there. I don't know how easy accessible the software is, but we have some software called Miro that we use that's particularly good for flowcharting. It's
That's true,
we've done
yeah.
various different symbols and put in the text and so forth. So if you're but particularly if you're a visual thinker and if you want some software that you can visualize your stuff using various anagrams and arrows and logos and so forth, and then for the purpose of like branching dialogue and so forth, I found that quite useful for something to reference back to.
It's really good for plotting, isn't it? Because it's
Yeah.
like sticky notes on a virtual
Getting
whiteboard.
the narrative arc and the
building
flow
the
of
story
the
graphs.
intensity.
I like it.
Does anyone else use Miro? Have we heard of Miro?
Yay!
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, Miro's been fantastic actually. Yeah,
But
'cause you
anything
can
of
make-
that sort.
Sponsored by.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm trying to remember previous software I've used that's freeware, but my brain is not working today. It's been a long weekend. But yeah, cool. That stuff. Do it.
Awesome. And you said you had a rune.
Yeah, so the
yeah.
other one is obviously with the announcement yesterday of the new area, and it almost seems like it's going to be in parts. How's that going to like impact you guys lore-wise, like with having a gaps rather than it being like all at once?
We can go into small detail here because we have one specifically for the new area expansion. But if there's anything you
It's
want to
fairly
mention,
simple, and I think
yeah.
it works like any other storyline, basically. Like so, it'll be released in parts, but it'll be released in parts like any other quest line. So I won't expect it to be much different in that regard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No worries, thank you. Anyone on this side? Yeah? Thank you, Sam.
If you ask about the bears, Rebecca, I'm going to leave.
Oh.
So a monumental plaque in that area it's not possible.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a question. I have a question that touches on the finale of the Battle of Monolith. Obviously, the main sort of events there had such massive implications for the next section of quests. But there was one thing there that perhaps has been overshadowed. And I just wanted to ask, what's happened to Char, Zaros' beloved dancer, and will we ever see her again?
So we had a specific plan, didn't we?
We did.
And that happened. And we still have that plan.
I have a plan for Char, and I'm really sad that I can't talk about it today. But there is a plan. So we haven't forgotten about her.
I'll say that
for
loud
Char.
for everyone. Justice for Char.
We haven't forgotten about her. Don't worry.
I look forward to seeing her, maybe in the future.
Who knows? Who
Maybe
knows
a game
what she'll
jam
be.
project. That's an idea, actually.
Potentially, yeah. We've got a lot of stuff on Game Jam, I'd imagine. A lot of people are working on
Duck
so many
Quest
things.
coming from Game Jam. That,
Yes.
that was a Game Jam project. One
Yes,
Echo.
it is.
If you like talking animals, that's the place to be.
There we go. Exactly. Anyone on this side? Yep. Second. Where's second row over here? Thank you so much.
Hello. The question is, with the wilderness being updated and we receiving flash events, there was a particular item called the Dark Onyx Core that refers to the spiritual beast's inner core. Will the spirit beast or the corporeal beast ever be expanded on in the near future?
Lore-wise or gameplay-wise?
Both. Because it's the Dark
could pick
Onyx
one.
Core is pretty unique.
Practically speaking, I think it's unlikely we'd be doing much wilderness stuff as part of an intentional strategy in the near future, just because we've got other stuff going on. That doesn't mean someone couldn't do a little game jammy psych thing around it, but I'm not aware of any plans for that.
Yeah, there has been. If you haven't seen the roadmap already, it's quite extensive. But no, yeah, if there is obviously a want for it. It's part of our Game Jam stuff, right? So the more people talk about it, the more that we will know about it, and our amazing team will try to get it into the game, I guess. So yeah, for sure. Anyone on this side? Any questions? Yeah, just second row over here. Pass the mic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello.
Hi. I have a very random question because personally I love like the arc and all the lore behind it, and I was curious. We got Seiryu. Are we ever going to see the other 3 Colossi in the future? Like the Genbu, Suzaku, and the last one was Byakko.
I think the general answer to questions, not just your question, but I think yours as well, is that there's no reason why we can't. It's difficult. I don't say it's difficult to prioritize that kind of stuff, but like in terms of deciding what goes on the roadmap, just because something isn't on the roadmap doesn't mean we're never going to do it. The Colossi are cool. The arc's cool. It's fun. Seiryu is great. Maybe in future. I think that's the really unsatisfying answer. There is like they're there. They're in the game, and I think one of the joys of having such a big game with so much going on is that we can kind of pick and choose what we focus on. So maybe when we do the Arc Batch 2 eventually, we could introduce another Colossi.
Promise today.
No.
Oh, steady.
Coming 2027.
I think another great thing we've been doing lately is we have the game, but there's also been so many tie-in novels, RuneScape Kingdoms, so I think we're finding more and more avenues to explore maybe underexplored bits of lore outside of the core game. So I'm not saying anything is happening, but if you show interest, there's always a chance that maybe we'll be picked up in another piece of media as well.
I think it's partly to do with the way that we tell stories, that there have to be these things in the world that can be picked up and worked with, but there are so many of them that we can't ever pick up and work with all of them. So it's about finding the pieces that are lying around that suit what we're doing right now. If you guys know, like every time we have a tiny gap, I'm like, let's do some desert, and then it just never worked. And then it finally happened.
It's like rummaging through a toy box, trying to find like, okay,
Yeah,
what
exactly.
do we actually want to do at the moment? And then we just put everything back in the box and close the lid. And then we open it up again. And it's like, it's not gone anywhere.
Yeah, everything's always there, right?
We can force anything into anything, but that's not really the right way to do it. You want something that suits.
Exactly. It's the quality of the material, right? That's the important stuff. I've got a question just over here. Thank you, Nikki.
Similar to how the new mascot boss is like a pseudo world event. World events coming back, maybe potentially.
Yes, please,
please.
God, when was the last time you did a world event?
I believe that'll be the Cabbage Face Punch Bonanza,
When
which
was
was
that?
sort of a mini
the
world
most
event.
lore significant of the world event.
Yeah. There was Marimbo versus Brassica Prime. Thank you very much. How can I forget
Praise.
Brassica Prime?
Thank you.
But as
Praise
to when
Brassica.
that was, you guys are going to have to help me out because I can barely remember what I did last Tuesday. 5 years ago, maybe, was it? I don't know. Time is hard.
It's probably 10, wasn't it?
Probably 10, yeah.
When was the last time?
20.
Well, I mean,
10 years,
world
wow.
events are a problem from a lore point of view more than anything. I mean, they're interesting from a gameplay point of view. They have advantages, disadvantages. From a lore point of view, what they do is they create a situation which you can't participate in if you weren't there at the time. Which, from my point of view, from a world building point of view, just isn't a good thing. The fact that World Event 1 and 2 are such critical pieces of lore that just don't exist in the game is a real problem from my point of view. And we've been experimenting with ways where we can. So obviously there were some problems with Battle of the Monolith and how it worked, but the idea there was to do something world event-ish, which remains as a permanent piece of content. So I'd like to keep experimenting with, it's a big deal at the time. Oh, we did something similar with Zamorak, didn't we? The demon invasion after Zamorak, where the story still makes sense. Again, obviously it's not as grand, I get that. It doesn't have quite the same impact. But the idea that there could be an event in-game which matters and which is worth participating in at the time, but the story still makes sense afterwards is really important to me, I think.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Let's have, just a question over here. Just second row, thank you. Hi, hello.
Hi. So on the topic of novels, we were mentioning that. Since you guys are the lore experts, how much is your process involved with that? Do they get to email you? Do you get to help plot?
In terms of the players, you mean? Or
No, you.
Our involvement in the tie-in novels.
Oh, yes.
They're written by novelists because game writing and writing for any other medium are different skill sets. And I think people sometimes forget that. A writer's a writer. Like, no, there's different skills involved. But we get sent the manuscripts. We're proofreaders. We have input on, like, I read the whole... Okay, the Halavale one. Sorry. Couldn't remember. Fall of Halavale. Yeah, we got the whole manuscript for that, and we were making, like, markup comments through it. It's like, oh, this doesn't work here and this and that, because they're written by people who specialize in game adaptations, in novels, but they might not be entirely familiar with RuneScape lore. Stu, I think you've done quite a bit of work with like background information on these things.
Yeah, I forget her mod name, so Melissa, who looks after our merchandise and those kind of opportunities to work with the IP with third-party products. She took care of things like the negotiation for doing the tabletop role-playing game and the board game and the art gallery book that we did and so forth. And she very kindly gets the Law Council involved in making sure that we get the facts of those things right. The set of comics that we did recently also around the God Wars, ensuring that we are narratively addressing that. So yeah, I've done a lot of proofreading for those, making sure that things are fact-checked appropriately. We want to make sure that it all ties into the same cohesive lore.
She spent a long time with you talking about what the exterior of the Temple of Lost Ancients looked like, didn't she?
Yeah, she was really worried about making sure we got
really
that right.
worried about making sure that it made logical sense.
Yeah, because I've had the incredible amount of time there's been since the third age, but then the level of deterioration that's happened to the architecture and so forth. She really wanted to make sure we got that right. It was lovely.
Awesome. Got a question here, just over here in the lovely frog hat at the back.
Amazing hat, I love it.
Looks very familiar.
So it's the most important question of all. Is Zanuck currently alive or dead? Because
surely that depends where you are in the quest line.
She wasn't but she was last before then, suddenly mysteriously bleeding after being resurrected.
Just
Sure,
kill her
again.
again.
Schrödinger's Zanuck, yeah.
Schrödinger's Zanuck, nice.
Oh, maybe she could come with us to Havenhythe. And then we could kill her.
Ah! Oh my goodness.
We'll give the player a choice whether to kill her. And then the whole storyline can diverge.
I think the key
player's
point...
choice. You go this way or this way.
I think the key point in encountering her was like, she's suffered enough. She's been brought back so many times. Just let the poor girl rest.
Yeah, let her rest.
She had her wonderful arc through Chosen Commander, and she's had other opportunities since then. But you know, in my view, that was like Mod John A's story, and he told a beautiful story there. And there's a certain point at which it better just let her go out on a high note. In my view, I think leave that character alone. She suffered enough.
In RuneScape 3.
Yes, that one.
Nice. I have a question, actually, from some of our players online as well. So what has been, in terms of building lore in RuneScape, given lore is a massive game, RuneScape itself, and in terms of evolving an MMO, we've got so many MMOs at the moment. I'm sure everyone's playing different MMOs. RuneScape, obviously, number one. But in terms of your lore and quests, like how do you keep that evolving? How do you keep that maintained, especially in our community? Like, what's been your biggest challenges so far?
Biggest challenges for writing and evolving lore? Ooh. We kind of alluded to it, the few of the questions that we've had, that we're not free to just write whatever we want. Related to not being novelists, you can't just write anything. It has to be game content. The story can't just, we can't just write any random quest about anything. Even if you are just writing a quest, you still have to think about the gameplay of the quest, how it fits into the world, how it fits into other lore. And then usually you're not just writing a quest, you're syncing up with something else. You're leading up to a boss fight, or you're part of a storyline. And so it's how do we fit everything together? How do we come up with the storyline? So, it gets asked, like, what about Acheron? And one of the biggest considerations there is well, how does it plug into everything else we're doing? How does it meet with, where we're at in terms of, well, we've had a lot of this kind of content. Let's have a different kind of content. Maybe it's not time for that kind of thing right now. And it's a million factors to take into account.
Right. Game writing is an exercise in compromise and practical reality. Like, I also write novels, and I also write like prose fiction, and you can do anything you want, and it's great. But you can have the best idea for a game thing in the world, but if your game can't support that, it's not going to work. And you have to consider your tech stack, and you have to consider your art, and you have to consider your processes and your localization and all that kind of stuff. And like, I got burnt by that with Extinction quite badly, because there's so much cool stuff you want to do and so much graphical stuff you want to show, but the game can't show it. Therefore, it didn't really, it could have worked better. So it's being able to compromise and work with what you have to tell the story you want to tell. And I think the secondary challenge with writing such a big, old game is like remembering everything. Because there is so much content. I think between like the Lore Council is 8, 10 people, like with RuneScape 3 and Old School and the secret other project that is starting to be talked about.
The Super Mega Other project.
The Super Mega Other project that Mod Raven is lead narrative for, so look forward to that.
Yes. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Sorry. We'll come.
You'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
But like, we all have our particular interests in various different parts of the game, and it's like that, between all of us, we remember most of the game, and then we have the wiki as well, which is brilliant. That's like a lifesaver when it's right. When it's wrong, it's like, what the hell? But yeah, just like keeping everything in order and keeping everything organized can be a real challenge as well. Because there's a lot of stuff out there. It's like 25 years of content, 25 years of story.
It is.
It can be really challenging. It can be really, really challenging. Another
big challenge is developing a single-player narrative in a multiplayer environment. Back in the day, you were an average Joe adventurer, amongst many other adventurers, was the kind of way that we presented things, but then we concreted things down into you are specifically the World Guardian, and now split off into you used to be the World Guardian, and now we're trying to get you to do more of the adventure sort of stuff, but ultimately you are the protagonist of the story. And having the single-player narrative while multiple people are all interacting with the same quest simultaneously, and how that might overlap, making sure that we use a lot of instancing, for example, because a lot of our cinematics and our personal story we're trying to tell is this sharded out version of it that's sort of trying to make it more of your story. But also when, say, you're playing a quest alongside a friend of yours, if you're getting pulled off instances very regularly, then that can feel like quite a lonely experience. So trying to get some interactive gameplay in there as well. yeah, there's a lot of like mechanical challenges also to consider that makes things a bit more complicated than just writing the story.
Yeah, a big one there is, what if you want to tell a story about a character, but they're models from 10 years ago?
Graphical fidelity is also quite a tricky one.
That's what we had with the desert storyline as well. One of the first questions asked Mod Jack when he suggested moving to desert was, are we going to be able to get all of the visual updates we need to really sell it and give it what it needs to really be? And we were. Luckily, in the case of the desert, but that's also something to think about. And the areas, like, is the area we want to use also? But then also it can be a good opportunity to update stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of the desert storyline, that was the highest amount of players that wanted it to be finished, right? Is everyone excited for the Amasket boss? Yeah? It's looking good. We do have
She's
a
looking
combat
so
mod for that.
cool. I love her
That's
graphic
amazing.
rework. Yeah. If you go by the art area today, Mod Dragon's going to be sculpting Amasket's model, so you can go look over her shoulder
Ew.
and see how she's shaping up because she looks great.
And what time is that?
Oh, I don't know.
Lovely.
I've only got my own stuff.
I mean, it's
like
going to take a while. Presumably, she'll be at it all day.
Oh, she's not going to have it done today.
No, yeah, she's starting
Try not
on
to
it. But
distract
I think
her too much, otherwise
I
we
think
won't
it is
have
on
an
after
Amasket
this. Is after this finishes, I believe. The rest of the community campfires and stuff is starting as well. 12 o'clock starts at 12.
Thank you.
Thank you. There we go.
I do want to say there as well, one
yeah,
teaser.
Go on, Zura.
I love Amascot's concept art. There's another concept art for another visual rework coming with the finale that I like even more.
Oh, a little hint.
Amasket's not the only one being reworked.
No. There's another one I like that's even cooler, in my opinion.
Oh, so there's another one coming.
Oh,
Okay.
there might be more than two, but...
Oh, okay. More. Well, we'll have to
I've
find
internally
out.
called it one of, if not the biggest glow-ups in RuneScape history.
Fantastic. Well, we'll look out for that. Definitely.
Don't you dare spoil it.
No spoilers.
I will
That's
say
the only
no
spoiler you're
more.
gonna get.
I'll say no more.
No more. Right, do we have any other questions? Any other questions? Over here? Let's get some at the back, just over here. Lovely guy in the glasses, just at the back there. Thank you so much.
Hi, so
Hello.
the question I was wondering about is, with the way that the Elder Gods are now no longer on Gillinor and their eggs are going to be no longer draining the anima, is there going to be implications from that? So, like, I know from the first age we had all the Colossi came about because of the overabundance of anima. The anima was all directed the gods to want to come to Gillinor in the first place and things like that. So is there going to be implications or is there any sort of ideas for that in the near future or long-term future?
I mean, if I take the super lore version of that, it would be, yes, perhaps, but not for hundreds or even thousands of years.
So yeah, on the time scale, it would be like a geological process rather than like you'll see it in 10 years.
Okay, gotcha.
Time. But yeah, from like a world mechanics point of view, yes, you're right. You might not see it in game though because it would take a long time.
Potentially. Let's do one other question. Anyone on this side? Yep, just front row over here.
I was just curious with Mod Ravens moving over. Are there other people still pushing for the Rite of Passage quest? Yes.
Literally every player.
That's good.
Rite of Passage is Mod Raven's baby. I don't think any of us would dare touch it. It's very personal to him, so it wouldn't be right for any of us really to take it on.
Or if we did, we would want to involve him.
Oh, obviously,
So,
yeah.
because that kind of happened with Desert. Like, we wanted to make sure that Rowley was
Mod Rowley's still
involved
like
in the Desert.
Like we're making the quests for the Desert series, but Mod Rowley's like our key feedback person. Everything we do is being run past him. It would be the same if we ever did Rite of Passage because it is Mod Raven's baby. Not in the near future because he's busy with something else that's also very exciting. I don't know, maybe he'll fit it into that one. That'll be fun.
Potentially.
Coming 2027.
Yeah, there is the question of, with how the settings changed and Mod Raven moving over, would a RuneScape 3 quest be the right way to tell that story nowadays? I love that story, and I really hope it is told one day in some format, and I'd like to believe it will, because Raven is really, really passionate about it and really wants to do it.
That's awesome. We are unfortunately going to have to wrap up. Thank you all so much for attending our first RS3 panel for the Lorehounds. Let's give it up to our JMods over here. There you go. They will be around after the panel, so if there are any other questions that you have, do feel free to approach them and politely, and ask them any questions. But yes, join us for the next panel at 12. We'll be doing the RS Ahead expanded, and we'll be going into more details about what you saw yesterday.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.